All right, guys, so today we're going to get linear equations that look kind of mixed up and wobbled up, and we have to put them into slope-intercept form. So remember, slope-intercept form is this. How do we get our equations to look like that? So here's our first example. Y minus 3x equals 10. Okay, it has all the parts. I've got a y, I've got a number next to x, and I've got a b, a y-intercept, right? But it's just not like this. So you have to remember when you need slope-intercept form, the most important thing is you're trying to get y. Y needs to be by itself. He doesn't want anyone else by him. He's a loner. He wants to be on that side of the equal sign by himself. So how can I get this y all by himself? Well, I need to get this guy out of here. We need to get that minus 3x to the other side where it belongs over here. So if you remember, when you're moving equations, you have to do things that are called inverse operations, the opposite operations. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I said, what's the opposite of someone taking away $3 from me? You would say, well, the opposite, Ms. Harrington, is adding $3, someone giving $3 to you. Inverse operations, when you add them, they come up to 0, right? Those are opposite. If I had a plus 5x, the opposite of someone giving me 5x's would be if someone took away 5x's. So when I add those two, I have nothing left, right? Inverse operations just mean the opposite. So if I want to get rid of this thing over here, so it goes away and it goes on that side, I have to perform the inverse operation. So what's the inverse, or the opposite of taking away 3x? Well, the opposite, Ms. Harrington, you should say, is to add 3x. So I'm adding 3x over here. Why? Because I want this thing to go away to 0. I don't want it over there anymore. But I can't just add 3x on this side. I have to, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So I add 3x on the left side, and then that means I have to add a 3x on the right side. So now what's left? Well, what's left is this y. My lonely y is still by himself. This is gone now because minus 3x plus 3x, that's 0. And then I have an equals, and 10 plus 3x is still on the other side. Does it look like slope-intercept yet? Yeah, that y is by itself. But I can see the only thing that needs to change is that the b needs to go at the end and the 3x needs to go first. So all I have to do for that part, since it's on the same side, is just rewrite it. Now my equation is in slope-intercept form and I can graph that thing. Seems a little weird. We're going to try a couple more, okay? Number 2. What if you have an equation that looks like this? First check, is my y, my lonely y, by himself? Yep, he is. Okay, the only thing if I really want to make it look like that is I can flip it around. So let's flip this thing around. Y equals 4 plus 2x. All I did was switch those two. You're allowed to do that. One side equals the other. It doesn't matter which side you write first. So now that I've flipped it around, can you see the only other thing I need to do? The only other thing I need to do is to swap these two, right? Just like we did here. So if I put the 2x first, and this is a positive 4, so we're at plus 4, now it's in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form where the y-intercept is 4 and the slope is positive 2. All right, what about this guy? Is my y by himself, my lonely y? Almost. Except this pesky 2's next to him and he wants to get rid of that pesky 2. We don't want it over there. So let's think about this. What does this mean, this 2 next to this y? That means that there is an implied multiplication there, right? 2 times y equals 3x minus 4. So if I need to figure out the inverse operation, what's the opposite of multiplying by 2? Opposite of multiplying by 2. Hopefully you're remembering is divide by 2. So I'm going to divide this whole thing by 2. Why? That gets rid of this thing. So now my y is by itself. But guess what? I cannot divide the left side by 2 and leave this one alone. Remember what I told you up here? If you do something to one side of the equation, you have to do it to the other. So that means I need to divide this whole side by 2. But to make my life a little easier, I'm just going to put the 2 under each term so that I can deal with it separately. Every single part needs to be divided by 2. So this, now what are we left with? Well, we're left with y over here, which is what we want. He wants to be by himself. Because 2 divided by 2 is just 1, and I don't need to write 1 there, so y is finally by himself. Now hopefully you can see that this looks like slope, right? What is my slope supposed to be? Some number times x. So that some number is just 3 over 2x. I don't need to divide it. I don't need to write 1.5x. It's slope. You can leave it as an improper fraction. Okay, what about this part? Can I simplify negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 4 divided by 2. Yeah, that's just negative 2. So that is my slope-intercept form. Those are the trickiest ones when you have division, but we'll keep practicing, okay? Don't worry if it seems a little stressful now. This is not going to go away. You'll be solving equations from now until you're in calculus, okay? We're going to do one more example together. Y minus 8 is 2x. Where's my y? There he is. Is he by himself? Not yet. Let's get that guy by himself so he stops complaining, right? So we need to get rid of this minus 8. Well, what's the opposite or the inverse operation to subtracting 8? The opposite would be to add 8, right? That makes this thing go away, so the y is by himself. But remember, I can't just add 8 to one side and not do anything over here. I also need to add 8 to that side. Something you may be wondering is why don't I put it underneath here? It's because I can't add 2x and 8. They're different kinds of terms. I can't add a number, it's called a like term. I can't add a plain old number, a constant, with a number that has an x behind it. It's not possible. If this was just regular old 2, I could add it, and 2 plus 8 would be 10, but that is not the case. So what happens here? Negative 8 plus 8, that goes away. Phew, I just have my y by himself, just like he likes it. And on this side, I have 2x plus 8. So there is my equation in slope-intercept form. All right, we're going to try a couple of these together today until it doesn't feel so wonky anymore.